Everybody ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right. My goodness, look at this. We got the whole battalion here. Let's get this meeting called to order, ladies and gentlemen. City Council will convene the meeting today. What is it? March 5th at 10:44. Sorry for the tardiness. Let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, let's do roll call.
Councilmember Whitman,
Here.
Councilmember Reed,
Present.
Councilmember Sanders,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Penna,
Present.
Mayor Taylor.
Here. All right, there's a couple of changes under the consent calendar. Just want to notice everybody, the annual levy items G1 to G3. These were previously noticed for an annual hearing on April 2nd. That meeting has been pushed back to April 16th. If you want me to repeat that, because the mic was not in front of me, I will. But so the resolutions associated with these items will be updated to reflect the change from April 2nd to April 16th for items G1 to G3. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So move. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So let's see. Let's go into proclamations and presentations. We have anything to present there?
Which is the introduction of Riverside County Fire Chief Robert Fish and Battalion Chief Cody Wright.
Okay. So let's go. The new Fire Chief Robert Fish and Battalion Chief Cody Wright. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, staff. Mike Beverland, Deputy Chief of Eastern Operations. As you know, we're going to be making some introductions to the team here, but I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank not only the council, but the staff for the excellent relationship. As you know, I've been here for about 7 years now, working as some chief officer for the city, and it has been nothing but a privilege and an honor. We've worked very well together to be able to put public safety at the top of the list, and your commitment to public safety is duly noted, and just really appreciate that. So thank you all so much. Learned a lot working with Chris and his team, and Eric and everybody, Kevin. It's been wonderful, and I know that relationship is going to keep going, but thank you so much.
You do an amazing job.
Thank you. So with that being said, we're here to make an introduction for a couple folks. So the first one is in December of the County Fire Chief, Cal Fire Unit, Riverside Unit Fire Chief Bill Weiser retired, and Robert Fish was selected to fill in his big shoes. Chief Fish has been with Riverside County Fire Department, Cal Fire Riverside County Fire Department for a long time. He's worked in the Cove communities. He started out here working on the ambulances and still holds his paramedic card today, and loves EMS, loves everything about the services that paramedics provide. And he is going to be an advocate for all of our desert communities. He's a great boss and has been a good mentor to me. So let me bring him up, Unit Chief and County Fire Chief Robert Fish.
Thank you, Mike. Mayor, Council, thank you for allowing me to take some time to introduce myself. I'm familiar with quite a few of you just from over the years. As Mike stated, in December, I was appointed as the fire chief to replace Bill Weiser. I actually started my career, as he said, here in the Cove communities in the year 2000, and I've worked mostly in the Coachella Valley for that period of time. I'm very fortunate to know the city well. The city manager has been an outstanding partner to us, and I'm proud to say that we've been your fire department since the inception of the city, going all the way back to the late 60s. We have every intention to continue that relationship for as long as possible, and we very much enjoy and value the city of Indian Wells and the pieces that you contribute not only to the city here directly, but also to the county fire department as a whole. Ultimately, my job is to lead the men and women that actually do the day-to-day things that provide the service to your citizens. And we take that very seriously, and we want to provide, and I do believe we provide world-class services, but our goal in my administration is going to be to continue to enhance, provide efficiencies and innovations, and ensure that we're meeting the mark as demand goes up, to keep costs as level as possible, but also meet the demands of a changing population. So with your support, I appreciate your time, and I'll pass it back to Mike, who, just so you are aware, I was able to actually promote Mike into my former position. So he elevated. You have somebody from the Valley that's going to be continuing to lead the Valley, and I couldn't be happier to see Mike as part of my executive staff, and also to continue to help lead the men and women here in the Coachella Valley. So thank you for your time.
That's great. Great.
All right, so I know the agenda says Battalion Chief Cody Wright, but that's what his former job was. He's replacing me as Division Chief and Fire Chief for the City of Indian Wells. Cody Wright came to us from his last assignment where he worked with Lake Elsinore and Wildemar as a Battalion Chief. He's been kind of all over. He has history here. He worked at 55 and Fire Station 50 in Rancho Mirage several years ago. I know he's going to do a great job, and I'm going to bring him up and introduce him. Cody Wright.
Division Chief Cody
Correct. Good morning, Mayor and City Council. My name is Cody Wright. I am your new fire chief. I truly am honored to be here and excited. As Chief Beverland stated, I did work out here in 2015 and 2016. So I'm really excited to see where the city's gone, where the city's grown, and be part of the progress that it's made. I know I have some huge shoes to fill, and I plan on grabbing the torch and carrying it forward and making positive improvements here. Thank you all.
It's great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks, everybody. Unless there's any questions, that's the end of our presentation.
Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, not a question, just a thank you to Chief Beverland. I've served on the Public Safety Committee here at the City Council for the past 4 years and 2 months. It's just been a real pleasure working with you. We got a hell of a lot done. And so I just want to say thank you.
Well, appreciate that. And it's just a great collaboration between your support, staff support, and the fire department support to be able to move some of our safety initiatives forward. And we're seeing the results of it, right? We have paramedics everywhere, ambulances, engines. We got good coverage.
Opticom.
Opticom,
yeah.
ISO rating improvements. Like, we've done a lot
You
of good
bet.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and your time to get to a call is remarkable.
Yes.
It's really well noted. So, nonetheless,
I
thank
would,
you. Very
I would like to second everything Greg mentioned here. Thank you so much for your time and participation in our city, and congratulations.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Next time on the agenda is the Coachella Valley Disaster Preparedness Network presentation. Carla, are you here? There we go. Come on up. CVDN PN past president.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, let me see if I can navigate all of this. Well, good morning,
Good
Mayor,
morning.
council, and all the staff, and to all the attendees here today. What we're going to talk about today impacts every single person in this room and all across Coachella Valley. And we all know that we live in a world of human-made disasters as well as natural-made disasters. And it's not a matter of if, but when. Okay,
Need some help with the clicker?
clicker. Angelica.
There we go. It
Okay.
worked.
Okay. I'm Carla Sullivan Dilly. I'm the past president. I was one of the founders of our nonprofit that's going on 10 years old. And we are unique. We are all volunteer run. We don't have any paid staff. And so we consider ourselves passionate about preparedness. We want people to survive and thrive. So basically, we teach English, Spanish, And we have some primary classes that we teach, but mainly personal preparedness, how to survive and thrive. A couple weeks ago, we offered at the RAP Foundation, where we have our office, we have a training room. We're doing personal preparedness. That is called a training. When we go out into the communities, it's called outreach. And to the right was at one of the presentations we did a couple weeks ago.
Wow, quite a few people.
Stop the
there.
Bleed. We offered that class just this last Saturday, as well as personal preparedness for both of our assembly members. Our impact, and mind you, some of these are already, we've exceeded our numbers. So this is our impact across Coachella Valley, training our residents. And I'll talk about us not being first responders. You've got great first responders here, but they can only go so far and do so much. We come in after them. We train the residents that they're not able to get to. We have proven partnerships. Alone, CVDPN could not do this. So we've got partnerships. You can read this: Palm Springs Unified School District, the Desert Hot Springs Safety Academy, Desert Regional Medical Center, JFK, and so on. And together we have been able to really accomplish a lot. What do our partnerships look like? Well, you can see your name up there, and a lot of other ones too. So who are we? We are a network of people working together. So the business community is important to all of us in Coachella Valley. We also work with the business community. We're on 2 chambers of commerce. We work with the Greater Palm Springs Realtor Association, a member of CAI, as well as Desert Resort Management. There's much to be done in terms of preparing our businesses, and stronger business preparedness means stronger recovery for all of us. Political fallout, something we don't like to talk about, but something that happens all the time. Everybody looks for somebody else to blame, right? Well, we tell people you need to be personally prepared. Each one of you in this room should have a preparedness plan in your home, in your car, and place of work. So when we look around today and the excitement of the BNP Paribas, and our communities are packed with residents, they're packed with guests, 14.5 million annually visit us. Are we prepared to take care of them too? So basically what it means is we want everyone to know that they need to be personally prepared. And then your team of staff and your first responders can focus on their jobs. Why does it matter to your city? Well, we all have the hazard mitigation plans that come out, and we all know our number one hazard is earthquakes, and then we have all these other fun things to deal with, extreme weather like wind, etc. Our first responders, though as great as they are, and we recognize that, they're going to be overwhelmed. So if we, the residents, can be better prepared, more lives are going to be saved, and there will be stronger survivors. How can CVDPN help you? We already have a proven program. Just in the last 2 months, we've trained 1,700 residents across Coachella Valley. Mind you, we're all volunteers. We do it at the RAP Foundation, and we take it to their communities or their businesses. It's no cost. We have trained volunteers, ready-made programs. So let us help you and assist in keeping your residents safe. What partnerships look like? Again, some of them on their websites were their first link. Please put us on your website. Then they can tie into us and people can get disaster plans. Your average resident's not going to read your 195-page, hot off the press disaster plan. They need to know what they need to do to survive and thrive. Whether it's websites, newsletters, if you want us to come to one of your buildings and you sponsor a training, we do the training for free. We need to reach more Indian Wells residents. We give everyone a ready-to-go bag. It's filled with, and I left one today for you to look at, with what they need to do to be personally prepared. And we do all of this from grants and donations. The bottom line is it's a win-win process for all of us. And the more preparedness we do, the more lives we're going to save. And from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in green, every dollar of preparedness saves $13 in recovery. And that's huge. We bring our expertise, train volunteers, and it's a win-win relationship. Ready is the new well. I don't know if any of you attended HARC's launch last week about the health survey, but readiness, being mentally healthy because you have a preparedness plan, is now in the top 5 worldwide. So people say, boy, Carla, you had a good vision. I said, no, I didn't. Everybody needs to have a disaster plan. So please partner with us. It's a win-win situation for all of us. And you can reach us at www.cvdpn.org and scan us. We have our trainings at the RAP Foundation that are free to everybody. And I don't want to come across negative. I just want to be honest. We have wonderful relationships in the 9 cities. We do have a good relationship with you, but we would like to see more of you. We've really only been to, had the Toscana security director attend our trainings. As far as El Dorado, I have been out there and presented to them, and then also at Desert Horizons. That's not a lot. So
That's pretty much it, actually.
well, no,
I'm
no,
kidding.
there's a few more.
Plus these people, and that's about it. So congratulations.
We are here for HOAs. We're here for communities. Wherever you feel that they're lacking in having a plan where they can take care of themselves for up to 2 weeks. Because we can say it because we're not getting paid by taxpayers, but 911 services will probably not be there for the first couple of weeks. You need to be able to take care of yourselves and your neighbors and be your own first responder. So we look forward to having a follow-up meeting with you so that we can brainstorm with appropriate council, staff on how we can work together a little bit more.
Thank you very much for your
All right.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
Anybody have
you.
any comments they'd like to?
I'm happy to answer any questions.
Oh,
That's good.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good job. All right, now we head into public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Not for this section. We do have some for general business, but not for this item.
Okay, so that brings us to the city manager's report. Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. I have a couple quick items. Just as a reminder, the city's strategic planning session is scheduled for Tuesday, March 17th at the Golf Resort. It'll begin promptly at 9 a.m. The focus will be recapping our current goals that we're working on, as well as establishing new goals and updating the community on the various projects and programs that we are working on. The intent is to wrap everything up by lunchtime. So I encourage all those residents and others in attendance to stop by Kestrel afterwards for a bite to eat. And then as part of our discussions here at the city council level, I know the council has been, asked by residents more and more information about our city budget. And so this year we actually will have a dedicated study session just to talk about our budget and the budget process. And that's going to be on May the 13th here at the city council chambers or at the Golf Resort. We're still confirming locations, but the idea is to have a further discussion on the mid-year of our 2-year budget and talk about the nuts and bolts of our budget process as well, led by our fearless leader, Kevin McCarthy, our finance director. And with that concludes our comments for today.
Excellent, thank you. City attorney. Mr.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, the council met in closed session to discuss the items identified on the agenda. No action was taken on those items that needs to be reported under the Brown Act. However, the council did ask me to report for the benefit of the public that a landscaping violation case at the property identified as 45422 Indian Wells Lane will be addressed. The council voted unanimously to clean up the property under a warrant and a receiver, and of course the city's cleanup costs would be secured by a lien on the property, so we should get paid back. That concludes my report, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Yeah, I would hope that maybe some of the neighbors could reach out if anybody knows the homeowner and just try and get us in touch with them because we've been unsuccessful. Let's go to the consent calendar. Are there any items that need to be pulled? Anybody have an issue with the consent calendar? Otherwise, can we get a motion to approve?
I so move.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the consent calendar has been approved, which what leads us to public hearings. All right, so first item on the public hearings is Kevin ordering the levy and collection of assessments for the special fire tax standby and availability charges. That's a mouthful. Kevin?
Good morning, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. As required by law, the City Council is required to hold a public hearing to review the city's special fire tax. This voter-approved levy supports fire suppression and paramedic services in our community. With that, staff recommends that the mayor open the public hearing, take any public comment, close the hearing, and then simply adopt the resolution as it's presented. And I am, of course, available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll now open the public hearing. Do we have any comments?
No comments.
Okay, and so any council discussion here? Otherwise, move adoption.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Once again, this is part two, Kevin. This is kind of like your show today. Ordering the levy and collection of assessments in the Fire Access Maintenance District number 1 for fiscal year 2026-2027. I'll now open the public hearing.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. This levy serves the residents living behind the gates of what is commonly known as the Indian Wells Country Club. Voters in the FAMD district have recently approved an increase to their annual tax of $1,559 per residential unit. The levy primarily funds security services and roadway improvements inside of the district. And with that, staff recommends that the mayor open the public hearing, take any public comment, close the hearing, and simply adopt the resolution as it's been presented.
Very good. Opening the public hearing. Do we have any public testimony or
No,
comments?
no comments.
Okay. Any comment from the team up here?
Move adoption.
Move it. Second.
The motion.
Okay. All those in favor? The motion passes unanimously. That brings us to general business. Do we have any comments on general business? Do we have anything more we have to do? Kevin, are you done? Until we get to Eisenhower? You're making the presentation on Eisenhower as well?
I'm opening that. Yes.
I see. So you're just standing up there for the entire presentation. I
Yes,
like
sir.
that. Okay.
Yeah, good exercise.
All right. Good. I like it.
Mr. Mayor, I'm recusing myself from this matter.
Okay.
So I'm going to absent myself from the room, and
Okay.
somebody can come looking for me after you're all done.
All right. So, general business I-1, community assistant funding request from Eisenhower Health for trauma center upgrade. Kevin.
Thank you again, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. Eisenhower Health is requesting a $1 million contribution to support its upgrade from a level 4 to a level 3 trauma center with a future advancement to a level 2. This upgrade will allow more severe injuries to be treated locally and reduce transport times by as much as 15 to 25 minutes, potentially saving lives. The ad hoc committee recommends full approval with funding evenly distributed over the next 2 fiscal years using the surplus from the general fund. Eisenhower has also agreed to provide a naming rights opportunity within the emergency department, recognizing the city's contribution. Miss Monica Vasquez is here today representing Eisenhower Health and is prepared to make a brief presentation with the authorization of the mayor. That concludes my report, and of course, I'm available for any questions you may ask.
Okay. I think we should hear from Eisenhower Hospital on this. before we begin our deliberations?
This out of their
Please. Sure. Welcome to Indian Wells City Council.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, honorable council members, Mr. City Manager, city staff. Again, my name is Monica Vasquez, Director of Community Giving, and it's a pleasure to be here and present to you this morning. At Eisenhower Health, every achievement begins with the engine of philanthropy. It fuels our pursuit of healthcare excellence and makes our mission possible. Through philanthropy, we are able to recruit the nation's top physicians, invest in leading-edge technology, and continuing moving forward in our goal in becoming a truly world-class health system. It also allows us to bring closer to where people live and work, expanding access to established services while introducing new ones like the John W. Larson Foundation Trauma Center that directly benefits our community and saves lives. If I may, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. and Mrs. John Larson, sitting right behind me, who are longtime supporters of Eisenhower and residents of Indian Wells.
Oh, welcome. Thank you for coming.
In 2022, Eisenhower Health opened the John W. Larson Foundation Trauma Center, achieving a Level 4 designation. The designation granted by the Riverside Emergency Medical Services Agency reflects our commitment to patient safety and advanced trauma care. As our community grows, we saw an opportunity to treat more trauma patients closer to home. Keeping care local improves safety outcomes and continuity, especially when seconds matter. Our path forward is clear. Advance from a Level 4 to a Level 3 with a long-term goal of Level 2. A Level 2 trauma center allows patients with even the most complex injuries to remain at Eisenhower without transfers to other cities. This means faster care, better outcomes, and peace of mind for residents of Indian Wells and the region. In 2026, we will achieve a Level 3 designation. We currently have 4 fellowship-trained trauma surgeons, positioning us well for this milestone. Level 3 provides 24/7 trauma surgeons, anesthesia, and emergency physician coverage, ability to perform urgent operations, and stabilize critical patients. Our future Level 2 goal requires surgical subspecialties and a trauma ICU. In preparation for this next designation, we have remodeled the Mike and Jan Salta Health Center, which sits steps from the emergency department. This proximity allows faster evaluation, resuscitation, and surgical response. It's not just efficient design, it's saving lives. And again, Mrs. Jan Salta and the late Mike Salta are longtime residents of Indian Wells and longtime supporters of Eisenhower. Regional leadership and emergency preparedness. In 2024, Eisenhower led Riverside County's first multi-mass casualty drill. This demonstrated Eisenhower's role as a regional leader in public safety and preparedness. Our pursuit in world-class healthcare is guided by strategic investments in programs and facilities to strengthen care for the entire Coachella Valley. One of the most significant efforts underway is our $356 million capital campaign supporting 10 major projects across the health system, from cardiovascular care to cancer services to memory care and other critical programs. And 80% has been funded by Indian Wells residents. While the John W. Larson Foundation Trauma Center is not part of the campaign, advancing trauma services remains an important priority to our community. That is why we partner with local cities, working together to support projects that best serve their residents. We believe expanding trauma care is one of the most meaningful ways to strengthen safety and health for the residents of Indian Wells and the region. To continue this progress, we respectfully request a $1 million investment from the City of Indian Wells. This support will help advance the John W. Larson Foundation Trauma Center and strengthen trauma care for our residents. In honor of this partnership, prominent recognition for the City of Indian Wells will be placed in the emergency department. Together, we can ensure world-class care is available when it matters. I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Eric LaRue, our Chief Medical Officer, and Dr. Eutham Contaxis, our Director of the Emergency Department, who are here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Dr. LaRue, always good to see you. We work together on dust, just so you guys know. All right. So I believe that concludes the presentation by staff and by Eisenhower. Now, are there any questions from?
I have two
Please,
questions,
Dana.
if I may, and
Yeah.
I don't know who can answer this
Yeah.
properly, but so between the four of you, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number one, we've received a number of communications concerning this proposal, one of which indicated that they thought that Eisenhower Health was a private organization. And now, obviously, JFK is privately owned and Kaiser's privately owned. Who owns Eisenhower Health?
The residents of the Coachella Valley. We are the only not-for-profit hospital, the only not-for-profit
So
healthcare.
those are people who are saying that this is privately held and people are going to get rich out of this money. They're not accurate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. The second item that has come up a number of times is why are we the only city that is participating? And you did have something on your slide, but I didn't hear you reference it. Can you explain what that slide indicates, please?
Absolutely. With our many projects that we have at Eisenhower, we present them to the cities and talk with them to see what is best for your residents. As you've noticed, the City of Palm Desert most recently contributed to the campaign, to our current campaign, and so did the City of Rancho Mirage. When we approached the City of Indian Wells, the leadership thought that they wanted to support something that would help the residents with emergent care, such as the trauma center.
Okay, let me make sure I understand what this thing is. City of Palm Desert since 2007 has contributed $12,500,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the City of Rancho Mirage in that same period has contributed 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, $10,500,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In the City of Palm Springs, that has its own hospital,
Yes.
and presumably has less interest in Eisenhower than other cities, has contributed 500,000.
That is correct.
And we have contributed 5, 6, 7, 8,500. 8 million. Thank you. 8,500,000. So if we agreed to this,
Assuming we approve today.
oh, that includes
That's right.
Yes, the trauma
That's right.
center. Yes.
Fine. So
Yes, that's our request.
very good, very good. So the suggestion that we're doing this without that we're helping Eisenhower on our own without any meaningful support from our fellow Cove communities is not accurate. Is that, would you agree with that statement?
Yes,
Thank
the
you very
support is
much.
coming from residents like Mr. Larson.
Right.
And the residents, yeah, not just the cities, but the
Very
residents.
good. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I do have a couple of questions. First of all, let me just say, along with my colleague, Councilmember Reed, we were on the ad hoc committee that studied into this. And also, I want to state that I did go to the hospital and met with Mr. Landis, with Ms. Vasquez and Dr. Contaxis, and looked over the entire emergency room and other parts of the hospital, and also the Salter Center, which would become a trauma center. Thank you very much for your courtesy and showing me all of that and discussing it with me. But I do need to disclose that I had that ex parte discussion with all of you over at the hospital. One of the difficulties I see in this policy that we have, and it's a new policy on extraordinary gifts, is that we create an ad hoc committee to make a recommendation, but under the policy, there's a requirement that we have public input and a public hearing on it. And we made a recommendation according Kevin.
Could I just break, this is questions only.
I am going to make a question
Okay,
after.
and
I will
just-
make a question.
We can debate this after we've heard.
No, I know, but I just wanted to, before I ask a couple of questions, and that that we will have. I just want to make sure, Kevin, that the recommendation certainly was based on the information that we received, and we need to have public comment and community input. So here's my questions, and one of them, I think, for Kevin's purpose, is. In accordance with the community assistance policy, the over 200,000 gift, which this is its own separate policy. Is that correct? Yeah.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, that's correct. It's their subsection in our sponsorship and contributions policy.
And is the extraordinary gift policy also subject to the same reporting requirements that we have on the other less than 200,000 community assistance givings of a 90-day after completion of the project or 90 days after the gift is given to get a fulsome report of how that money was spent? Are they subject to that as well?
So that's actually in a separate section, but I think that's a reasonable request that could be done as part of this effort. Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
So we include that. We may include that request in the motion.
Okay, good. So I just didn't know whether it was part of it or not. And
I appreciate the
okay.
clarity.
And the other questions, and I'm going to ask for people that are written in. There's a question as to whether this would make Eisenhower a #1 trauma center. Maybe somebody, would this gift and this project make
You mean level one?
level 1?
No.
Sure. Do you want me to just take the questions in order? Or
Please.
do you want to batch them? Okay. So thank you, everyone. There are 4 levels of trauma centers, with level 1 being the highest level, level 4 being the lowest level. We're currently a level 4. We're on a journey, right? We start somewhere. Level 2 and level 1, just for clarity, are clinically effectively equivalent. Level 2 centers and level 1 centers are both able to care comprehensively for any emergent traumatic issue that happens. The distinction between level 2 and level 1 is a research element that gets added. So to move from 2 to 1, you have to prove a certain amount of scholarship, basically publications. So our pursuit is to get to level 2. Once level 2, we will have the option to pursue level 1. But in terms of the community benefit to residents, I wouldn't perceive or anticipate a distinct difference between a 2 or a 1. Right? There's an image component to it a little bit, but in all odds, once we are level 2, the step to level 1 will not be very hard. And the reason is that we've already put in our application for a surgical residency program, which builds out our graduate medical education program. That in of itself is academic. And so publications start to happen when you have that sort of ecosystem of scholar trainees in-house.
So would it be accurate to say that our gift in this project is for to take us to a level 2?
I would characterize it as this gift helps us get to level 3, which is a step on the way, which is a necessary step towards level 2. And then one other thing for further clarification on the level 3 issue is that we are pursuing level 3N, which is a nuance with some significance. The N means neurosurgical. So it's a level 3 in all matters except the neurosurgical care reaches a much higher threshold, basically comprehensive neurosurgical trauma care. So the sort of head injury traumas, which are very common, particularly in the most common cause of trauma, which is a fall with head trauma, we're able, as a level 3N, to provide comprehensive neurosurgical care.
Great. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Thank you, Brian.
I did. Thank you for the presentation. Most of my questions have been answered, but I do have two specific questions. One, how important is it for our city of Indian Wells to have a level 2? Let's just jump to level 2 with respect to our hotel partners and the tennis gardens and the growth of the tennis gardens and having over 600,000 people here in a 2-week period of time.
I'll take that. Nice to see you all again.
Good to see you too. Thank you for coming.
I've just been covering the tennis, the first aid there, and we have had large crowds. We've had at least 3 patients in the last 2 days that have had head injuries, significant head injuries, that I was able to work with EMS, all my good friends, and we were able to direct them to Eisenhower with a much shorter transport time, and one of them needed a neurosurgical intervention, and I would fair to say that the extra 20 minutes to go to Desert Regional might not have resulted in such a good outcome. In addition, what we really need, I think, in the Coachella Valley, we are the only nonprofit, but at this and so what we do with our wonderful donations is to improve our infrastructure, which I've seen, and I've been on the board now for almost 15 years, and I've seen how much goes into infrastructure, and that infrastructure serves all the residents in the Coachella Valley. The gift will benefit Indian Wells, but also improves everybody's care, which is a wonderful thing and a gift to the Coachella Valley. At the same time, that adds some redundancy in the Coachella Valley. And I've seen several times in my career, 26-year career here, where we have had issues at Desert Regional. One time there was a flood. There was another time there was issues with their surgical coverage, and we had to absorb the patients. And so we really, and because the next trauma center is over an hour and probably 20 minutes away at Loma Linda, we are really talking about some really important redundancy in the system, shorter transport times. The golden hour is a significant thing. And if it takes maybe 25 minutes to get to Palm Springs from Indian Wells on a good day, on a bad day, it may take longer. So those are the reasons I think it's very important that we continue to upgrade our programs in that way.
Can you tell me how many patients Desert can handle if we had a catastrophic event at the tennis garden?
Yeah.
How would we stand? Because public safety is not an accident. We have to be prepared before the accident, not after.
Well, we've done the only, comprehensive mass casualty training at our hospital, and we've included all of Riverside County participated. We have processes in place, and all the hospitals have worked together in that regard. And what I'm getting at is Desert Regional is at capacity right now with their trauma. They are one of the busiest trauma centers in Riverside County, and to be honest with you, our number of trauma patients rank in the top 10 in Riverside County. So because of our catchment area being so broad, we are getting patients from all the way from Blythe, which lost their hospital, from almost the southern border and past Salton Sea, 29 Palms in the Marine Base, and east and west of Palm Springs sometimes. So significant.
Okay, last question. In regard to achieving a level 3N, if to get to level 2, do you have to achieve level 3 before?
You do. You have to go through each phase, and really, to get to level 3N, you have to act like a level 3N receiving center prior to getting designated, which is why we need to improve our call for trauma. We need to add trauma surgeons. Right now, we have almost 4. We need 5 to have a full call panel. Once that's in place, 3N will be fairly easy. Our neurosurgical services are top shelf. That's excellent.
And based on your forecast of donation, how long will this take to achieve a level 3?
I don't know. Eric, you probably have a better idea about the time schedule.
Yeah. So we're currently on track to achieve level 3 this year. Okay. This calendar year.
And then to get to level 2?
I anticipate another 2 years.
Okay.
Most likely.
And let's just hypothetically speak as we are at a level 2 today. How many patients can we handle?
We could handle trauma patients specifically, somewhere between 2,000 and 5,000 a year.
Thank you.
Which would be on par with Desert Regional, and with the growth in the area would allow them to sustain their volume to maintain competence and ours. We're in close communication with the county because they need to make sure that each center can remain, the right level of busy, right? Busy enough to stay relevant and necessary, but not so busy they're overwhelmed. Their internal analyses are that 2 is appropriate for the region.
Great. Thank you so much, both of you.
And then I hate to put our new division chief on the spot, but about a month ago, your predecessor made a presentation. Come on down. Made a presentation about the data around the number of calls you get from 911 and the percentage of those which are trauma or people who have fallen and need help. Would you care to share that data or your thoughts on that?
Correct. Mayor and City Council. My name is Cody Wright, your newly appointed fire chief. It's a pleasure to be here. So I ran the statistics in 2025 for the city of Indian Wells. In total, our dispatch center, when they get the 911 call, they run through a number of questions, and through our EMD, or emergency medical dispatch, they classify the calls. Certain number of calls good for falls. The total number of falls for Indian Wells was 319 for the city. From that too, they also get classified from Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta, which are the severity of the calls. And Alpha would be very, very minor, sliding off of a couch or maybe a bed, going all the way up to a Delta, which would be falling down a staircase or falling from 10 feet or greater, like a roof. So something very, very severe. Of those 319, 163 of them were not transported. Either the person just kind of needed a lift assist back up off their feet, or else they signed AMA, against medical advice. So they either had a family member, somebody transport them by vehicle, or they did not need to go to an emergency medical facility. 108 of those transports went to Eisenhower Medical Center, 44 went to Desert Regional, and 1 person went to JFK. So that's the statistics for 2025.
And what percentage of the total calls that come in are fall, A through what you just mentioned, A through D?
A D.
No, A through D. How many of the total percentage of calls that you get, how many of them are for falls?
For falls, I would have to double check that specific statistic. That is
as I recall, it was over 60% based on the presentation we had. So over to you, but thank you for sharing the data.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your good advice. You'll probably be called up for answers to questions again. But in the meantime, we're going to go to the public and ask if there's anybody who has any comments on this matter. Angelica, do we have comments?
Yes, I have listed all your public comments on the screen. So we have our first one, Glenn Schubert.
Glenn, come on down. Oh, Glenn Schubert. Glenn Schubert.
Oh,
The other Glenn Schubert.
We have a
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. My name is Glenn Schubert, resident of Indian Wells for the last 8 years. I just wanted to say, so last time when Eisenhower did the presentation, I was fully supportive of going ahead and making this a level 3 and a level 2. And I still do. I just from my background, I was a research investigator for neurological and neurosurgical care at 2 level 1 trauma centers, one at UCLA, one at Harborview Medical Center. And so it's very important, for this golden hour that we have in trauma to make sure that we have appropriate care for people in our city. The one thing I have kind of a problem with is, number one, only asking Indian Wells. I didn't see La Quinta mentioned on the level, that they had for support, because this gives everybody in the Coachella Valley the ability to have another level 2 trauma center. We have a level 1, as the doctor explained. Just research is pretty much the only differentiator between 2 and 1. But that really helps, because if you have to close for something and you have another trauma center that can take those patients, that's great. So I still want to support this. I just like to see this spread out a little bit more over the valley. But I do think that we absolutely need to support this monetarily.
Thank you, Glenn.
So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Maureen, I believe you're up next. Hello, Maureen.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. I'm reading this for my husband, Dr. Byron Imtweiler, who was not privy to hearing what we all just heard. So some of this might be moot, but I will read it anyway, as I promised I would. Okay. I have been a resident of Indian Wells for about 20 years. Every few years, the Eisenhower Hospital comes to our city for some amount of funding for a myriad of projects. It appears that we are the only city that they approach. If you walk around Eisenhower campus, you can see the numerous plaques thanking Indian Wells for all our donations. Recently, they have approached the city again to help fund a trauma center. Our mayor has sent a message to all city residents extolling the virtues of the center. The mayor also cited the statistics of the number of falls older residents have, and therefore the need for the center. Let's look at the true statistics for traumatic injuries. The greatest number of traumatic injuries is found in 15 to 24-year-olds. Approximately 2/3 of American children have some form of trauma before 16 years of age. Trauma is the leading cause of death in Americans between 1 to 44 years of age. Americans between 21 to 30 years of age have the most traumatic brain injuries. Children and young adults are not the demographics of Indian Wells. The occupation with the most traumatic injuries are construction workers, nurses, police officers, firefighters, electricians, roofers, truck drivers, and warehouse workers, farming and agricultural workers, and lawn care workers. Again, these occupations are not the demographics of Indian Wells. The mayor also stated that having a trauma center at Eisenhower Hospital would reduce the time of getting patients to the hospital. Why have Eisenhower representatives not gone to the cities of Coachella, Desert Hot Springs, Indio, La Quinta, Palm Desert, or Cathedral City to secure funding? Each of these cities has a larger population and the demographics that should have a greater degree of traumatic injuries. They are located even further from the Palm Springs Hospital Trauma Center. Indian Wells should not be the only go-to city when funding is desired. The other cities that I just cited by demographics and distance from the hospital should have greater desire for the trauma center. These cities need to contribute to the funding. I am not against Indian Wells making a contribution, but should be in line with what these other Coachella Valley cities are willing to donate. As we know, Indian Wells has, on numerous occasions, donated money to the Eisenhower complex. On each of these occasions, the city has not asked for anything in return. Indian Wells should take a page from President Donald Trump's Art of the Deal and ask for something in return. For example, when an Indian Wells resident goes to Eisenhower emergency room, that resident should be elevated to the top of the queue, except for those that have a life-threatening condition. Perhaps if we start asking for something in return for our donations, we won't be their go-to city for funding. The Coachella Valley is a group of cities, and each city should contribute their fair share. If every city's residents are going to use the trauma center, every city should donate. We are not a socialist society, we are not our brother's keeper, and we should not again foot the bill for every other city. Indian Wells should not be the only contributor. Other cities' residents use the center, and in even greater numbers than Indian Wells residents.
Are you coming to a conclusion?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Your 3 minutes are up.
One more sentence.
Okay.
We do not need another brass plaque placed on an Eisenhower building. We need something tangible for our residents so they do not have to wait up to 8 hours. At least 3 of you are lawyers.
This is the second sentence.
Yeah, I made a mistake. Sorry. This is the last sentence. At least 3 of you are lawyers. Put your negotiation skills to work and get something in return for Indian Wells donations.
Thank you for your comments.
Who is that from? I mean,
Dr.
it's not, these aren't your words, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, who are you reading it on behalf?
Who is
Dr. Byron Imtweiler.
One more.
her husband, who is a doctor of
Veterinary medicine.
veterinary medicine,
He's a lawyer as well and an MBA.
a lawyer and an MBA.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it Via Lockridge? Oh,
Christian is next.
oh, Christian. Sorry, Christian. I apologize. Come on up, Christian.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members. My name is Christian Ardelian. I am a vice president of the foundation at Eisenhower, but I come to capacity as a citizen of Indian Wells.
I've lived here since 1988, since I was 6. We're a multi-generational family here in Indian Wells. From my 96-year-old grandfather, 87-year-old grandmother, my parents, myself, and I raised my 8-year-old and 10-year-old children here in this beautiful city. We live here because just like every license plate you see in Indian Wells, it says the quality of life. But I stay here because of the opportunities that this Coachella Valley has for me, and particularly of this area here in Indian Wells. Eisenhower, I've seen it firsthand, is a place of medical excellence. But we're looking at a world-class hospital, which is what this valley needs, what this desert needs, and what the citizens of Indian Wells need. Eisenhower has the most busiest emergency department in Southern California, just behind USC. Becoming a level 3N and soon a level 2 will enhance every citizen here, because the type of surgeons that are going to be in the emergency department and there 24 hours a day, and the equipment that's going to have is going to help out everybody that's coming through the emergency department, not just folks that are there for trauma. I think having the ability to serve even folks with trauma, which we've had some evidence here of spoken today, is that it affects everybody, not just the young, not just the middle, but even the folks that are here in our valley in Indian Wells today. So I'd like to give my support as a citizen of Indian Wells for the support of the Trauma Center. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Christian. Okay, Via Lockridge. I apologize if I pronounced your first name incorrectly. Okay.
Spelled right, it's even worse. But
Please.
I enjoyed hearing the pre-presentation because it gave me a little broader view. I initially came up here pretty angry, but I've mellowed some. I've even lost sleep over this. And my biggest question echoes some of what's already been stated. Why is it that groups regularly come to tiny Indian Wells to ask for money and often not anyone else? How did we become the sugar daddy of the Coachella Valley? Are we really such an easy target? And why are we such a pushover? So this time it's Eisenhower asking for $1 million of taxpayer money. And I think we all agree that Eisenhower is an absolutely wonderful organization. That's not the question here. And I repeat, Eisenhower is wonderful. In fact, I'm going in for surgery tomorrow there. But we are a city. We are not a donor-advised charity fund, and I feel these huge sums should be pared back. To me, $1 million is way more than our share. And the biggest thing is, did we not learn anything a few years back when we gave Eisenhower a disproportionately generous $2.5 million donation? And have we forgotten that immediately following was an unexpected pandemic? The money we had offered up, we did not have yet. Revenues plummeted. We were left with a serious financial issue. And I just feel we should not make this mistake again. Generosity should not come before fiscal responsibility. Our primary responsibility is to our residents, and, not to impress some of the raisers or organizations. So once again, this time, the money we are offering is from surpluses for the next few years. Those surpluses are not guaranteed. I believe we should err on the side of caution and not risk our financial future again. A
Thank you.
smaller sum of 100,000, 200, we should contribute. We will benefit. But to me, $1 million is way, way too much.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank
And
you
good
for
luck
listening.
tomorrow.
And good luck tomorrow. That's important. Sam Ginn, come on down. And Angelica, would you kindly remember to put the light on for the 3-minute time frame?
Well,
Thank you.
you saw before, I was pretty anxious to get up here. So,
Please introduce yourself. State your name.
you know,
Sam Ginn.
Yeah, Sam Ginn is my name, and I live in Indian Wells. It's my home. And I guess if I have a personal objective here is if I need trauma services, I want to go to Eisenhower. I've been on the board of directors for over 20 years. I serve on the finance committee of the hospital for that period as well. And to answer your question, there's not been a single year in those 20 years where fees covered the cost of your care. If we did not have philanthropy, it would be a very, very different hospital. It's just the facts. I mean, it's a massive help to our efforts that cities like Indian Wells will step up and help us achieve something that we really need in trauma care. Dr. Konaktis, you had a chance to meet him. I don't know if you've ever been in his emergency room, but he lives through chaos every day. And there's something to be said for people who manage well. And he is not only a great doctor, but he manages that emergency room like any physician I've ever seen or heard about. So we're going to spend your money well if you're willing to give us that contribution. So thanks for your time.
And Sam, just before you leave, can you just, for a matter of credibility, so you said you were on the board of Eisenhower, right?
I'm sorry.
You said you were on the board of Eisenhower Hospital. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And then formerly you were what in your career? The CEO of?
Well, I was CEO of Pacific Bell.
Thank you.
And I was CEO of a cellular company and
Thank you.
had a long
Appreciate
career in telecommunications.
Sam's a terrific person to help us with our telecommunications as well. So thank you very much, Sam, for coming up. Alex, you're next. Come on down. Yes, exactly.
My name is Alex Soshin. I am a resident of Indian Wells. Thank you, esteemed council, and thank you for the presentation, and thank you for all the information you furnished to us prior to this meeting. Procedurally, I agree with one of the council people who said, be great to get this input before it's kind of a priori kind of recommendation, because I think the community would be very valuable to say, for instance, what healthcare priorities, what funding priorities we might have that might actually help direct the philanthropic request. I come with my comment actually in support of a donation to the trauma center, something we will all benefit from for many years to come. I also do believe that Indian Wells, from a position of financial strength, absolutely can bear the request. But I also offer my perspective as a former program officer from the Annenberg Foundation. We reviewed requests like this all the time, and there are some basic things that I would definitely say going forward for future requests you might want to consider. We got an analysis of all the contributions, but they were for very different projects across different timelines. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. There's also the proportionality. We don't know what other cities' budgets are. We don't know what their populations are. So again, it would be helpful to have that as context. One basic fact that I think would have been really helpful for the city council and the city to consider is We're being asked for $1 million as a part of how big a full request for the trauma center. Is it the entire amount? Is it 5%? Is it 20%? Knowing the percentage of the total cost, programmatic budgetary cost of this trauma center improvement would allow us to then present this information with a little bit more context. That being said, I think it's an important contribution. I just think that for $1 million plus request, the level of due diligence, great report, but those are some basic elements that I think would give the city and the people that you represent a little better ability to know exactly what was voiced. How much of this are we shouldering versus it's a part of a collective effort from all the cities, which all stand to benefit from this trauma center. Final thought, I would definitely say if you're going to go with $1 million and it's part of a broader push, in other words, are they still fundraising for this? Presumably they are. Maybe it could be a $1 million lead gift from Indian Wells as a one-to-one match. In other words, if they get matching funds from the other cities or from other funders, we can match on a one-to-one basis. That actually makes our gift go even further. And it can be used to impel other members of the Coachella community to support this very important project as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Dr. Bruce Underwood. Dr. Bruce Underwood, are you here? There he comes. All right. Hey, doctor. Good to see you, Bruce.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor and city council members and staff and the Eisenhower people. I'm an Indian Wells resident, 37 years, and been involved in the community in multiple ways. I just would like to start by saying the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Comes from the book of Proverbs. So I think it's important that we think about the issues. So my background and training as a preventive doctor, and I'm glad, Dr. Topper, that they're actually recognizing you, even though you're not an MD, as a doctor here in Indian Wells, because it didn't used to be that way. So I would like to say as well that it would be foolish for me not to think that we need to have a trauma center. But at the same time, my background and training is we've never really spent any money on prevention. You know, I know it's going to take 30 minutes to get to Eisenhower, 60 minutes, I think only 60 minutes to get to Loma Linda from here, not 80. Because if you've got sirens on, you can get there. And I think that's an important thing to think about. We do need regional structure, because if you don't have regional structure, and to me it's interesting that the city of La Quinta has never given money to Eisenhower, and also Indio. I'm not saying the others, but those two cities both have money that they could give, which I don't know if Eisenhower's actually asked them for money before or not. So actually, I've known Michael Landis for 37 years. So I know all the people at Eisenhower. And my goal really is that all of this is treating things after the fact. There's lots of things that we as a community could do to prevent the trauma. You can't prevent all of it, but you can prevent a lot of it. And I do agree with Dr. Emsweiler, his analysis of the data, because I think you have to look at those factors. And I also want to agree with Alex and his analysis of the data, because I think in terms of funding, you always have to think about, why didn't we go to the Vintage or El Dorado Country Club or to Desert Horizons? There's lots of people there that if you ask them for money, and I know you've already done it, would give the money, because there's lots of people that have in the reserve as well. So to me, we need primary prevention, because again, falls, cardiovascular, and heat illness are the big issues. Also, we also have to look at the HARC data, which tells us that we need to do something. But to me, trauma centers do save lives in emergencies, and prevention helps ensure that those emergencies would happen far less often. I think the financial analysis is really your job. The legal analysis is your job. But I think there's so much that we don't do and we never have done for prevention in this community, primary, secondary, or tertiary. And to me, that's a huge mistake.
Okay.
Like the analysis that Alex gave. Anyway.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for your presentation.
I just think you need to I would actually like to say one final thing. You know, I served on several boards, public boards, and really my analysis is that you're really not supposed to make a decision until all the data's in, the final person has spoken. And that's, I think we've seen that already.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Now, as part of this process, we then kick it back to council here for a motion and deliberation. Do we have a motion to approve the $1 million donation to Eisenhower?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so let's chat about this. Does anybody have any comment? I would like to actually start not with a comment, but a little context. So Eisenhower came to me 2 years ago, and they showed us they're in a constant fundraising campaign. They have many, many initiatives going, from cancer to emergency rooms to childcare, and the list is broad and deep, with the desire to become a world-class hospital here in the Coachella Valley. It is the hospital that serves Indian Wells. The Coachella Valley is the size of Fresno from a population. We as Indian Wells are like a portion of Fresno. La Quinta would be another portion. Palm Desert would be another portion. But we live in this Coachella Valley City Association of Governments. It's about the size of Fresno. And so when I think about, giving money to Eisenhower, I kind of think about it as giving money, to our hospital. Not that it's in Palm Desert, not that it's some, long distance away. And I think about all of us as being kind of a collective. And every one of us has a slightly different interest. It could be that a child care center is critical for the residents of Palm Desert. In our community, I spent a day with the fire department. I spent a day going from the time I woke up to the time it was about 5 or 6 p.m. at night in the back of a fire truck and in the back of an ambulance. And on that particular day, there were about 15 calls, of which 12 of them were all falls. They all were trauma related. A couple of them had to go to an emergency room. And so when it just so happened that, Eisenhower met with me the following day, and they presented this idea of talking about a child care center. You can see in the data that the other cities have acknowledged the recommendation from Eisenhower to invest in a child care center and have donated accordingly because that was the original request. I said a child care center doesn't necessarily serve the city of Indian Wells. Rather, it's my understanding from the data that in this city, we have a lot of falls, and that our fire department addresses falls every day, all day, on a majority of the time. And therefore, I think it's in the best interest of our citizenry that we, instead of donating to a child care center or a cancer center, all of which are noble and wonderful causes, don't get me wrong, but that we should have a Class 1 ultimate trauma center in the Valley, and that we should take the lead in this process. So from a context perspective, I want you just to understand how this kind of went from childcare to trauma and how this kind of conversation ultimately came out. Now, there's also been a number of comments about La Quinta. Where's La Quinta? I can't speak for La Quinta, but I can state one fact, and that is the long-term mayor of La Quinta works for Desert Hospital. And she is a senior executive at Desert Hospital. And another statistical point is the most profitable portion of Desert Hospital is their trauma center. And they don't want competition from a business perspective, a pure business perspective. So please consider that when thinking about how other cities invest in various hospitals and various initiatives, et cetera. I'm just sharing with you information. You can come to your own conclusions. But with that said, that just creates a little context. Do we have anybody here who would like to make a comment?
Sure.
Yeah.
I do have one question first, based on Mr. Soshin's very well stated comment, which is, do we know what the percentage or what the total cost of the trauma center enterprise that we're looking at here? What percentage of the 1 million is of the total fundraising effort?
Dr. LaRue, do you want to step up to the mic?
Again, I'm Dr. LaRue. Thanks for the question, all the questions. Thanks for the comments as well. Trauma programs, as Dr. Kontaxis mentioned, have to be fully built out before they're recognized. Only once they're recognized do they start to see the patient volume. So there's a huge amount of financial loss that occurs in the startup period, which can last many years. We estimate that it is somewhere in the $4 to $10 million per year range for a few years.
I'm sorry, I didn't get 4 to 10?
4 to 10. $4 to $10 million. It is a big range, but that's because during this time period, we are evolving and growing. So, it's different building out the level 3 right now, which is about 4 million, and moving towards level 2, which is about 10. So I offer the range because it's not going to be just a step we take one day. We're going to be continually moving in that direction along that spectrum. And so we could do the math. The 1 million, if we take a 3-year time horizon, let's say, comes out at about, let's say 1 out of 15, right? So somewhere that's in the, 6 to 8% range or so. Okay. Someone has a calculator.
So this $1 million will help you be one of the 4 million that gets you to the 3N stage?
So this is critical in the early phase that we're in now to build the platform that allows us to go to level 2. So the percentage of the total amount understates the significance of it, because in this early phase is when we need to get to the level 3N in order to get all the patients that the paramedics are picking up to bring, so they'll actually bring them to us instead of going the extra 20 minutes. And then that puts us on the path to the 2.
And does this does the 4 million include, and when I was over at the center, the CT scanner that was already there that I was told had done 600,000 scans already and was essentially needed to be replaced. Is the $4 million included? Does that include a new CT scanner?
Yes, new CT scanner. There's some expenses that are not capital, but are somewhat easy to picture in that we will need to, for example, keep an entire operating room open and unused and at the ready. Some of this is about the readiness capacity, as was spoken about. So some of it's capital and easy to picture, like human resource expenses around surgeons. Other parts is staffing and keeping an OR and an emergency suite operational with or without a patient in it.
Thank you. So thank you very much. So that leads me to a discussion. First point is, obviously, our $1 million gift that is being proposed is very significant. And I think that's an important fact, that it's not just buried in a huge other
$100 million campaign.
$300 million campaign. This is a significant amount of money, and that Indian Wells is being asked to give. What I said earlier, I still stand by, and I really appreciate that we have received all of this information from our residents, and it's amazing to me, after, this is my 4th year on council and many years before, we have such an intelligent and educated population who really think through these things and are willing to come up and talk to us about it. And we learned a lot of very interesting things today from our residents that I think sometimes I'm thinking maybe our new policy has things backwards. Maybe we shouldn't have an ad hoc committee appointed until we've heard from the residents and had as I think somebody said, have the last person speaking on it. Because when we make the recommendation, we make it on the information that we have at the time. And we've gotten some great information, data that that's really helpful in making this decision. The idea of elevating our residents to the top of the list, I don't think that would be ethical, because everybody deserves, based on the injury that they have, to be elevated to whatever level that the nurses and the doctors at the emergency department or the trauma department feel need to get the first care. So the suggestion that we should horse trade for an elevated status, I just don't think that's reasonable or probably legal or ethical. And I do appreciate that the hospital is willing to give us some credit for this gift. Plaques don't do that much, but it does give us some credit for this gift. It's, in the end, it's a balancing act. We have wealth in our city, thanks to our city manager and our staff. We do very well in managing the city and the finances of the city, and we're blessed with a surplus from last year of over $10 million. And so the bottom line is, should we as a city donate $1 million to a hospital that's so central to our well-being and our health? Or should we deny that and say, well, we're not going to give because, we shouldn't be giving to anybody? I think we have a responsibility to help our hospital. And Eisenhower is our hospital, even if it's not in our city limits. It's a hospital that all of us use. And I think we have a responsibility as a city, as we said, we are the stewards of fiscal responsibility. And I do think that giving to the hospital in this instance is within our scope of fiscal responsibility. So I'm in favor of it even more so now after today, after hearing what I've heard, than I was when I was on the ad hoc committee with my colleague, really just looking at the emergency room and hearing from the hospital's perspective. Because now we have the whole picture from our residents, from our fellow council members, and I feel very strongly that we should provide this gift. Thank you.
Brian?
Yes, thank you, Bruce. You took a lot of my words, so I appreciate that. I also want to thank you, Christian, for your comments. Those really resonated well. I was undecided prior to this meeting, and I have read every single email, and I've heard every single piece of data that was presented today, and very enlightened now that I've heard everything, and we've been able to ask questions and actually dig down into why we're doing this. We do have a responsibility to our residents and our visitors. For the record, our visitors contribute probably upwards of 2/3 of our city's budget annually. So we have a debt to them to have a trauma center to take care of them when they come here and they spend their time in our city along with our residents. We have a duty. Public safety is not by accident, and simply not being prepared is simply not an option. We have a responsibility to be prepared for our residents and our visitors, and anything short would be irresponsible. Thank you.
Okay, with that, should we move for voting?
Well, I just want to say one thing. First of all, I agree with virtually everything that's been said. I want to respond to whoever it was out there that said that Eisenhower should talk to the people at El Dorado and Reserve and Vintage and get them to contribute. Let me assure you that we receive encouragement from Eisenhower on a regular and ongoing basis to provide private philanthropy over and above what we're going to presumably do in a few minutes here. And I just want everyone to know that, at least from El Dorado's point of view, Eisenhower is a major recipient of our largesse in terms of voluntary contributions, myself included.
Michael Landis, who I spoke to this morning, acknowledged that over 50%, I believe, of the current campaign has been contributed by residents of Indian Wells in the clubs that were referenced, including El Dorado, the Vintage, the Reserve, Desert Horizons, et cetera. So the community is extremely active, and we have one of our resident board members here who is also very active. And thank you for please. Yeah.
Amendment to our motion, to the motion.
Yeah.
Which is that the gift be subject to the community assistance provision that we discussed earlier of a report. Just like any other recipient, I think maybe this is something that should have been in our extraordinary gift policy, if it's not, that they have the same requirement as any other recipient.
Which is a reporting requirement that states once you receive the money, you have to come back within a year and say, this is what we've done with the money and how it's been deployed. All right. So with that said, do we have a second to adopt the amendment? Second. All those in favor of the amendment?
Aye.
Okay, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate, Eisenhower, your coming in for this meeting. We look forward to being served. Hopefully none of us will fall. Okay, what do we want to get Greg?
You have to be.
That's why I told him.
All right, we're going to go to the council member report and comment. Ladies and gentlemen, we still have a meeting going on here, so please keep your comments to yourself. We're now going to council member reports and comments. Mr. Whitman.
Oh, wow, yes. Let's see, let me get to my list here.
I don't, yeah. That's it? That's our last.
Okay. The Coachella Valley Children's Museum had its annual fundraiser and event, and it was very successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, we have a meeting going on.
It was a great event at Consuela's in Rancho Mirage and raised money. Cove Communities, we met. I'm going to leave that to Councilmember Sanders, who was also at that meeting. Desert Sands, we met with the superintendent and principals of the schools and had a great meeting there to learn about what was going on with the school district. Indian Wells Golf Advisory Committee. I think I'm going to leave that to the mayor since he was on the tournament ad hoc committee, and I think that's the most important thing right now. Sunline Transit. I went to the rodeo. That's ROADEO. Watching to judge the buses and the bus drivers on how they maneuvered through barrels and backed up and so on. It's an amazing thing. And they gave me an opportunity to drive one of the smaller buses through the barricades, which I did successfully and stopped within inches of where I was supposed to stop. I didn't win any money, but it was a good event. So that's it for me.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Reed.
The Seabag Conservation Commission met. They have prepared a video, about a 3-minute, 4-minute video of their activities for the last couple of years. I would like to request, not at our next meeting, because I believe the agenda is quite full, but at some future meeting, I would like to request that video be obtained and be presented to the council. I think you'd find it very interesting as to what the Conservation Commission has been doing over the years. The only other committee that has met recently is the ad hoc on Eisenhower, and we don't need to go over that again. I'd like to ask at this time that also a future agenda item sometime in the very near future is a report on what's happening with our cell service recommendation. The consultant that we hired How are they doing? What have they, what's left, and when can we expect the final report? Thank you.
Would you like to make a request that someone from the CVAG Conservation Commission come and make a presentation to us at a future meeting?
I don't know that that would be necessary. Well, why don't we see the video first? And if it whets anyone's appetite, then we could do that at that time.
Okay, well, that's not necessarily a matter of vote. Do you think we would have a benefit of showing it here versus just sending it around?
Oh, certainly. If you would like that, then I certainly have no objection if that's something that you want to do.
So you'd prefer, okay, so then what would you like to do? Add it to the agenda and show it in a meeting like this, or send it around for people to view? That's your call.
No, I would like to have the video shown here on the dais so that everyone can see it.
Very good.
But not at the April meeting, because we're really overbooked for April meeting already.
So at the May meeting.
Or May or June.
Okay.
I'll
Thank you
second
very
that.
much.
If that's a motion, I second it.
I don't know whether we need a motion, but maybe we do for an agenda item. Why not? Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. It passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Reed. Mr. Sanders?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Cove Communities Commission is looking into sharing Emergency Operations Center expenses and availing the three cities of some pretty interesting police technology involving the use of drones. On February 24th, the Community Activities Committee hosted a town hall meeting featuring retired Lieutenant General Ben Hodges, who is one of the world's foremost experts on the Russian war in the Ukraine. Was very well received, very interesting presentation and question and answer period. And the ad hoc committee on neighborhood historical signs has completed its work. We're working with the staff on getting a staff report prepared for the April 16th City Council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we're on to Mr. Penna.
All right.
Mayor
Thank
Pro
you for,
Tem.
yes, thank you for everyone that stayed to hear this. I don't have anything to report on Coachella Valley Mountains Conservancy. We did have a meeting, but nothing to report out. Indian Wells Preservation Foundation, I apologize. I left my cell phone at home and I had all of my notes in there for this. So I'm guessing by recollection that there's a soiree on March 16th, Angelica?
March 27th.
March
27th, and we'll
March
be sending
27th.
out an email.
Right, and there's an email going out on that. Additionally, the Indian Wells Community Activities Committee, Councilmember Sanders lamented on that. We do have a movie night coming up March 24th, and that movie is going to be 51st Dates at the Golf Resort. I am going to defer the tennis relationship expansion to you, Mayor Taylor. Thank you so much.
All right. So let's see here. The executive committee meeting of CVAG was canceled, and the next one is in March. The CVAG Energy and Sustainability Committee was kind of a ray of sunshine. It was very exciting. The AQMD came and made a presentation, Air Quality Management District, and the words that were spoken from the chief scientist were, and I quote, "We have a dust problem in Coachella Valley."
Yay! Recognition.
Finally.
And then the next quote was, "Dust is a health hazard." So we've made some progress here in influencing our constituents to take this seriously. And as we head into Dust Central here over the next 8 weeks, hopefully not over the next 2 weeks here during the tennis, but nonetheless, this is going to become a front and center position. I also had a meeting this past week with the California, what is it called? CARB, California Air Resources Board, we took an initial meeting with in Sacramento when we were up there in January. This was a follow-up phone call. Much to my surprise, they had 6 people on the phone, and much to my delight, they had taken our request seriously and spent the last 6 weeks doing research on dust at the AQMD to give me, not just me, but themselves, confidence that, in fact, the processes the AQMD are doing, the monitors they have in place, are the right ones, that the number is correct, that the data is, being looked at efficiently. And the result was yes, that in fact, they have more resources dedicated to dust now than ever before, and that they are taking this seriously, and that the analysis center that the South Coast AQMD has is state-of-the-art in the nation. And they should be able, over the next 2 years, to gather the necessary information to take potentially more advocacy. Everybody also acknowledged the frustration that there is short-term issues which can be resolved, and that there are a number of solutions which are very, very doable once we can get access to the land. And we've, during the last month, met with Ken Calvert, our congressman, about getting access to the land, of which we've identified as 3,000 acres, kind of near Cathedral City, but it's owned federally. So there's an opportunity here to get the support we need to get access to the land to create either short-term and or long-term fixes to the sediment that lies on top of the land, which is the reason why we get so much dust in Coachella Valley. So I'm hopeful that over the next year or so, we can create some short-term mitigation issues to reduce dust, and long-term mitigation that we can actually significantly reduce dust. So hats off to everyone for participating in this movement. Let's see. That kind of covers a bunch of these things. The Golf Ad Hoc Committee. So we have a tournament coming up, a club champion, a City of Indian Wells Championship golf tournament, which will be the first hope of many to come. And we will circulate the date. Robin, you remember it off the top of your head? 2-day tournament. What's the dates?
18, 19.
18th and 19th of April. All right. So very exciting. People sign up, please, to get your name on the perpetual trophy, which will stay in the city throughout the entire course of the year. Let's see. The other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to create a motion for us to send a survey around to all the residents based on this conversation we had today, with a list of all of our charities that we donate to on an annual basis as a city, and to see which ones just let's get a survey done to see which ones people support, people are passionate about. I think it would inform all of us just to hear what a broad survey result could be. And I would recommend that we do that. Do I have a second to conduct a survey to see?
Is it limited to the charities? What about to things like Acature and
we could do sponsorships. We could do sponsorships and charities. I'd be up for that.
I second. Yeah, under discussion.
Yeah, sure.
The only problem with that is there's a lot of background information that's necessary in order for a resident to make an intelligent
fair point
decision. For example, we contribute a significant amount of money to the homeless problem. The average resident sees no homeless problem in Indian Wells. So why do we contribute a significant amount of money to Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, Martha's Kitchen, to CVAG? The reason is they provide shelter for homeless people who come into our community and can be transported to those facilities. So I'm a little reticent to support it unless there's a way to make sure that the residents are making informed decisions about what we support and their recommendations about what we should not support.
Yeah, I think, if I may just kind of respond to that. This is not a vote to continue or not continue to support, but rather a kind of touch point to show the city the breadth and depth of our generosity, but also to hear what people have to say and to start a dialogue versus finish a dialogue. Are you going to say something, Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, we have the Grants and Aids Committee, and that changes every year based upon the presentations, the applications, and so on. So I think
Right.
it makes it a little bit difficult if you include the Grants and Aid applicants, because that's an ever-changing
Okay.
list. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of agree with Greg. I mean, how do we put out a survey? Like, would we be?
All right, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you. So the intention here, right, is to make all of our residents aware of, of the breadth and depth of our generosity, okay, and have a conversation about it, create a dialogue about it. Maybe like we're having a day of budgeting, maybe we could have a day of grants and aids or charitable contributions where we have a meeting like this, an open meeting, invite people to come.
Like a discussion
A
meeting.
discussion meeting, right?
Discussion meeting.
Right.
I think that's good because if you start including Acrisure and all the other things, that's really in the purview. I mean, we aren't a town hall society democracy where everybody gets. We're voted in to represent the city, and this is one of the things that we do: sponsorships, grants and aid, major contributions, and we do have these policies that we get input from the citizens, like we did today, on a gift, and then grants and aid. So, the thing that I worry about with surveys is that you get a very distorted view unless we hire a professional agency that does surveys, that's their business. To just send out a survey without,
I think that would be the intent, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And to add to that, we have short-term and long-term initiatives, and those would be difficult for a resident to ascertain on why we're doing something long-term when we've put a lot of effort into doing so. Can I suggest we get a staff report before we go any further with this, so we can get a little bit more detailed information on this?
Mayor and council, this seems like a really healthy conversation to be having, maybe on a future agenda, since this wasn't on today's agenda.
All right, so
I like the idea of a discussion.
All right,
I
so
do too. I like
all right,
that idea.
So then why don't we ask for an future agenda item whereby the staff makes presentation of all of our charitable contributions and we have a discussion.
Well, I don't want to limit it to charitable.
Okay, and sponsorships.
I want to know what the people think about our giving money to Acrisure. And
I understand.
And I can only suspect
All right,
that
so
it's quite negative.
can we have a motion then to put this on as a future agenda item to discuss the sponsorships and and our generosity to
I have a
charities?
motion. Yes, I'll motion it.
Well, I would
to put on a future agenda.
Yeah, with a staff report.
With a staff report,
Second,
including
Acrisure.
council members Reed's request.
Yep.
Well, not just Acrisure.
No. But you're asking.
Just don't limit it to charities.
That's what I'm saying.
It's charities and sponsorships.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. That passes. The second thing I wanted to bring up is that we have scheduled a joint meeting with the Planning Commission, the City Council, and the timing is such with everything that's going on in our packed agenda, strategic planning, we're going to have to cancel that meeting. And I would like to suggest a future agenda item to discuss whether or not joint meetings with the Planning Commission are appropriate or are recommended by council versus to continue the current process, which is just to maintain the Planning Commission meetings and then recommendations to council. So I would like to have that agenda item for a future agenda. Do I have a second to my motion for this to be brought
I'll
up?
second your motion.
Okay.
Not exactly sure what it is, but.
All right, so
I'll second it.
okay.
It's our Dana moment. We got
Mr.
Yes.
Mr. City Manager, would you care to give a little background here, please?
I'll do my best. I'll ask the city clerk to fill in if need be. The city has established a policy in the past of after strategic planning, having a joint meeting with the planning commission, should it be necessary, to give them an update on projects and programs that may be coming before them. It was something that was implemented with the governance committee, I believe, a little over a year ago. And so that first meeting was being scheduled for a time in April, but due to conflicts, that's being rescheduled to a later date in lieu of what this decision may be of this committee meeting.
And what what is the reason for a joint meeting with City Council? What was the original nature of that?
I'd probably defer to Councilman Whitman. He was on the governance committee at the time. I think it was just an effort to have a stronger relationship, perhaps, with the planning commission.
To my recollection, former Mayor Griffith and I were on the governance committee at that time, and we were looking at all of the committees and commissions and their functions and their scope of work was really the focus of that. And I think this arose out of a question as to whether the planning commission was whether the scope of work was clear for the planning commission, and that that maybe it would be good for the planning commission and the council to have a joint meeting to discuss projects that the council was seeing in the future, and to discuss that with the planning commission present so that we could discuss these matters. And that would shape to a greater extent the scope of work, which we had felt had kind of gotten dispersed over time, that we could really focus on what the scope of work was for the planning commission. Whether or not that really happens in a joint meeting,
That's my concern.
Yeah, I'm not sure that
Yeah.
that solves that issue.
My concern is that, a planning commission is an independent organization, if you will, that makes recommendations to the city council. It'd be like us having a joint session with the golf committee and with other large.
It's strategic planning.
Understood, but we could have this at strategic planning. I mean, at the end of the day, right? So the point is, I'm not sure that it's necessary moving forward, and the staff was a year or so ago was being told to proceed with a joint meeting. I'm not sure that's necessary, hence the agenda item because we can't talk about it at this point in time. All we can do is future agendize it to vote yay or nay whether we're going to have a joint planning commission meeting with the city council, hence the desire for me to put it on the agenda. So do I have a second to get it on the anybody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, we're a motion approved, so passes. So we'll add it to a future agenda. And ladies and gentlemen,
Can I
does
ask-
anybody else have any?
I
Other
have one question
Yes, please.
for our city attorney.
Yeah.
Having a meeting with every council member and the planning commission, doesn't that expose us to Brown Act violations?
Would be a public.
It's a public
Is
meeting.
it's public meeting?
Yeah, it would be a
Okay.
public
Oh,
meeting.
just okay.
Okay.
Clear there. Thank you.
Yep.
Answer questions.
Does anybody else have questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
Yeah.
just one more thing. Back on dust for a moment.
Yes.
A shout out to Congressman Ken Calvert again for getting language in the conference committee report on the Interior Appropriations Bill to have the Environmental Protection Agency render a report to Congress on the extent of the dust problem here in the Coachella Valley. I think that's going to be an important element of getting the attention of the regulators who can make a difference here.
Thank you very much for that. And I agree wholeheartedly with that outcome that our congressman was able to achieve for us. With that, this meeting is adjourned.